session, so we'd like not to compromise that. If Tahida, if you could just assist me put up the program for today, I will appreciate that. Thank you very much. Good morning again, everybody. I must say, ladies and gentlemen, it is quite a pleasure for CPUT to have been hosting this special event this morning. Firstly, I am Mandisa Silo. I am from CPUT, a very proud member of the university, and I am honored that the Department of Tourism and Events Management is hosting the special address by the Honorable Deputy Minister Fish Mahlalela. Perhaps with all protocol observed, DM, the DDGs, the Vice Chancellor, the DVC, the Dean, and all distinguished participants. And maybe I should also add all friends of tourism. I certainly wish you a warm welcome this morning. Perhaps I could just give a background of why we are here and why this event has been important for the department, and I should perhaps say for the tourism sector in general. This event is part of our guest speaker program in the Department of Tourism and Events Management, and this program really seeks to bring together all experts, be it in academia, be it in private sector, and so forth, really to share ideas, to expose each other to the winnings, perhaps even losses of the tourism sector, and perhaps also to provide recommendations for us to steer tourism growth in the country. This is why this project today is quite important to us, because right now we do have in our midst all these relevant parties, and we are quite happy that you could have joined us and honored really our invitation. But before perhaps I could proceed, maybe let me start with a few housekeeping rules. Tahida, I saw you had put up something there. I don't know if I should speak to that. Thank you very much. Without reading what's in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to indicate that for the purposes of this session, all the participants have been able to provide questions and queries and share comments to not only the DM and the delegates from the National Department of Tourism, but to us as a university. And these comments will be fielded a bit later. But given that we will not have rights for messages, neither the microphone nor for cameras, this will help us in various ways. It will also help us to manage our bandwidth, but also to get through this program as well in time. So please, participants, you have not been ignored. But we've had that opportunity that was opened during the send of the invitation. I will, however, indicate to the members that are in the program this morning that they would have these rights as and when they need them for the sake of their presentations. With all that being said, I will move over the housekeeping rules and proceed so that we are in time for our next presenter. But I do think before we start with that, perhaps maybe let me further add that today's session is really informed by a very important theme. And as you may see from the program, the theme is reimagine, rediscover, and reinvent tourism. I think that as practitioners, as scholars, as friends of tourism, we all understand how important tourism is to the country. We understand why is it that we, tourism needs to be reactivated. We have seen the impacts of the pandemic, in particular in the tourism sector. We have seen the adverse impacts in terms of job losses. We have seen how tourism enterprises have closed down during this time. We have also seen how tourist arrivals have really decreased substantially. And these are really just a few of the impacts that have concerned us in tourism, or, you know, of the pandemic. However, most recently, which is also quite encouraging, I must say, DM, is that we have seen a global shift, which is really leading to many destinations thinking about how can this tourism then be reignited. And there has been endless engagements globally about what kind of tourism are we now expecting to see should we reignite tourism. So there's almost a reimagination of this new tourism that is currently happening quite broadly. And I think this is why this session then becomes important. So DM, we are really looking forward to really hearing from you, to hearing the thinking and the approaches from the National Department of Tourism on how South Africa will be reimagining the new tourism. Having said that, I want to believe that the VC will also be pleased to know that right at the center of this critical question, which really seeks to answer, you know, what is this new tourism looking like? I must say that there is a very serious consideration for the role of higher education, and academia in general needs to consider this position and perhaps this opportunity, and how it can perhaps also, you know, realign its offerings, realign its scholarly outputs in contributing to the very same question. What is more exciting though, DM, is that part of this session is that our students have the opportunity to be exposed to the first voice, to the national voice of tourism in addressing this question, but more so and more exciting to me is the opportunity that they have to quiz you, DM, around what I would think are burning questions that they have and that are tourism related. And as I've said earlier, you know, with the survey, they have placed these questions, and I'm sure yourself and the NDT team are quite able to respond to them. Ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't want to hold back this session, but I must say in closing, I believe that participating today in this session has really put us at the right place, at the right time, and together we can. And together, let us really accelerate the exchange of ideas. And I'm confident that we have fresh energy to sustain all the efforts that are put not just in South Africa, but I think globally towards restorative transformation in the tourism sector. I really wish us all a successful session this morning. Now, if we have a look at our program, the next item on the program would be then the welcome message that would come from our Vice Chancellor, Professor Chris Nhlapo. Prof, I must first indicate our greatest appreciation that you have been able to set aside really, and what we know is a very hectic schedule that you have to really grace us today. And we really do appreciate that from the faculty and from the department. And if I may just then hand over the mic to you for the welcome message.
Thank you very much, Mesilo. Should I open my camera during the presentation?
We would appreciate that, VC, for the sake of all our guests this morning.
Indeed. Indeed, I'll do that. Thank you very much, Mesilo. Thank you very much, DM. Protocols have been established. Good morning and welcome to you all, colleagues. Special word of welcome to the DM of Tourism, Honorable Fish Mahlalela, DG, DDG, and the entire staff of Tourism Department here present on the platform. Deputy Vice Chancellor, Teaching and Learning, Professor Rishi Balkaran, Dean of the Faculty of Business and Management Sciences, Professor Paul Green, HOD of Tourism and Events, Mandi Sasilo, all our guests this morning, welcome to Cape Peninsula University of Technology, the home to the 2021 Varsity Shield champions. I must say that majority of these athletes are coming from this faculty. Well done to the Department of Tourism and Events with this guest speaker initiative. This is how to reimagine what is possible within our own smart university odyssey, or the so-called CPUT exceptionalism, which is a road to preeminency. This is how tiny changes make big differences, from subatomic to atomic changes or initiatives. This is gradual evolution or revolution, and this is the power of habits. To address the address by the Honorable Minister, I reckon, is dedicated to the recovery of tourism and events sector, and aim at presenting the thinking, initiatives, and approaches from the National Department of Tourism, themed Reimagine, Rediscover, Reinvent Tourism. Having been a DVC, or Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Technology, Innovation, and Partnership for the past 10 years, this department has for years played a leading role through the Center for Tourism Research in Africa, or what we call CETRA. The mandate of which was to foster research on tourism development and contact between tourism research, as well as provide research facilities for students and researchers, to create databases and expand current databases relating to tourism, hospitality, sport, and events, provide facilitation of dissertation supervision, highlight CPUT's contribution to tourism, hospitality teaching and research, innovation in Cape Town, the Western Cape in general, South Africa, and the globe. Facilitate research initiative in tourism, hospitality, sports, and events, bring together university researchers, innovators, lecturers, and practitioners, or the friends of tourism, including public sector, domestically and internationally. And lastly, encourage focused research clusters, incorporating researchers, students from different CPUT departments and from outside the university. As a result, we rewarded them with a research chair named Sustainable Tourism and Global Change. The research chair initiative is axiomatically one of the strongest pragmatic and practical intervention strategy for breakthrough improvement in research and intellectual power at CPUT. We are following what we call a focused approach to research. And one of the interventions that we are using is this instrument of research chair. Because we believe that we should not sprinkle our resources all over, but follow what is actually called a focused approach using focus area or thematic discipline within the institution. This research chair initiative was to conduct national, international recognized research of standing in a field related to CPUT research focus area, as I've already alluded to. Lastly, as an executive member of Human Resource Development, I'm tasked to review and analyze the 9-point plan to grow the South African economy and create much needed jobs. And one of the key job drivers is tourism. We are looking at this tourism through Operation Pakistan. And I'm busy with a paper that I'm going to present next week at strategic planning. And I hope that the students who are here today will realize that there are a myriad of career paths within tourism. Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, our propinquity and co-location to your department and our researchers in tourism can move South Africa forward and immensely buttress South African national system of innovation. With that said, I would like to thank you and welcome you to CPUT, and also thank all members of staff here present, and say we support this particular initiative from the executive management because that's the only way that we can actually ensure that we play a role in enhancing scholarship and innovation at CPUT. Thank you very much. Welcome and enjoy your day further. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Nhlapo, for those heartfelt words of welcome. I'm sure the delegates all feel very welcome this morning. And I must say, Prof, though, before I call on to the next speaker, that I do take note and really appreciate the support for tourism. In fact, in the next few days, you should be receiving a budget for special projects. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, VC. All right, colleagues, if we may move on, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps to the next speaker. And the next speaker is Professor Paul Green. Prof is the Dean of the Faculty of Business and Management Sciences, quite a very large faculty, but I'm sure he'll share some information with us today about it. The Tourism and Events Department resides within this faculty, and Prof is here to also welcome broadly the delegates to the faculty and to this event. Professor Paul Green, can I hand over to you?
Program Director, thank you. Molweni, good morning, goeiemorgen. Honored guests and the Honorable Deputy Minister, Mr. Fish Mahlalela, the Vice Chancellor of Cape Peninsula University of Technology, Professor Nhlapo, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Teaching and Learning, Professor Rishi Baukran, the various Deputy Director Generals, Assistant Deans, Heads of Departments, ladies and gentlemen, staff and students, and all protocol observed this morning. As Dean of the Faculty of Business and Management Sciences, I would like to express a warm welcome to the participants attending this event today, and amongst others, members of the Tourism Educators of South Africa, TISA, the South African Association for the Conference Industry, SACI, the National Department of Tourism, academics from higher education institutions across South Africa, students from the Tourism, Hospitality and the Events Program from CPUT, and across universities within South Africa and beyond. Thank you all for joining us this morning. And as Dean of the Faculty, it is my immense privilege to welcome you all to this virtual event where our honored guests will engage with us, all concerning the transformation and restoration of the tourism, events, and related industries under the theme, Reimagine, Rediscover, Reinvent Tourism. As an institution, a faculty, and department, we feel privileged to be hosting this event and are proud to be associated with the National Department of Tourism, as well as all the other key industry role players. Program Director, allow me to speak a little about our great institution, the faculty, as well as the Department of Tourism and Events Management. The Cape Peninsula University of Technology was established in 2005 and is the only University of Technology in the Western Cape and is the largest university in the region, boasting more than 30,000 students, 6 campuses, and 4 other sites of delivery, 6 faculties, and more than 80 undergraduate and postgraduate courses across a wide range of fields. Our vision is to be Africa's leading smart university of technology, globally renowned for innovation with graduates that shape a better world for humanity, and with a mission to transform its students through world-class researchers who inspire knowledge production and innovation that are cutting edge. The Faculty of Business and Management Sciences, with over 12,000 students, prides itself in its mandate to prepare skilled graduates to participate successfully in the South African economy and beyond, and strives to be a leading provider of business education in Africa. Nestled at the foot of Table Mountain, within the hub of the Central Business District, the faculty comprises of 16 academic departments and 1 academic unit, offering a broad selection of business qualifications, which include, amongst others, applied legal studies, sport management, hospitality and tourism, through a host of management-related qualifications specific to industry sectors like retail and marketing, to several qualifications within the accounting field. So the faculty is supported by 3 strategic units and boasts 5 centers of excellence, comprising of the well-renowned Cape Town Hotel School and its restaurant, the Business Innovation and Incubation Center, the Center for Enterprise Research Partnership and Innovation in Africa, which was mentioned by VC previously, as well as the Graduate Center for Management and the Retail Leadership Academy. Now, turning to the real host of this event, Ms. Silo and her team. As the Dean, I'm extremely proud to report that the Department of Tourism and Events Management is a leader in the field of tourism and events education in South Africa, being the forefront runner in introducing tourism and events programs within the higher education environment. The department also happens to be a member of TISA, which is the Tourism Educators of South Africa, which is a leading tourism body for academics. The department also has a strong and ongoing relationship with the National Department of Tourism through research projects conducted with CITRA, which is the Center for Tourism Research in Africa, as well as several tourism industry associations also present here today. This event is certainly testimony of these close associations and partnerships. And I'm sure that this conversation will be experienced as informative and engaging, providing the opportunity to make small strides in the quest for reimagining and reinventing sustainable tourism within our region and country. So, Program Director, in concluding my welcoming address, and as our Honorable Reverend Desmond Tutu once narrated, a time of crisis is not just a time of anxiety and worry. It gives a chance, an opportunity to choose well or to choose badly or to do things differently. So, ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests, I sincerely hope that you will derive much benefit from this morning's proceedings, and I wish you all well. Thank you for your attendance and participation, and please feel welcome to our university, the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. I thank you. Program Director, over to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Green. Indeed, I must say this opportunity today is really not just a moment of focusing on the crisis that the COVID-19 pandemic has put upon our sector, but really it is an opportunity for further collaboration. It is an opportunity for all the policymakers, government, stakeholders, academia, and so forth, all to come together and to really think about how we can recover or rediscover tourism. Thank you so much, Prof, for those wise words. I must also, colleagues, maybe just indicate that I do see a number of faces earlier, but also as through the chats and through people logging in, a number of familiar names that are coming through from various quarters that I must say Prof. Green did mention some of those that are present and has welcomed everyone. But it would be good for me to mention that in our presence today, we have members from SACI, which is the Conference Organizing Association of South Africa. We, of course, the NDT, the National Department of Tourism. We have CATSITA as well, which is our SITA for tourism. We have members of TISA, which is the only, if I should say, tourism association for academics or scholars in the country. and we have industry from various enterprises. So thank you so much. It's really good to see most of you having attended. Now back to our program, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call upon Professor Rishi Balkaran. Rishi Balkaran is our DVC, our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Teaching and Learning in the university. And I must say, colleagues, as I call upon Prof to share his words and introduce our guest speaker, I would want to say that this is the one time we realize that as a department, as a discipline, you know, as a sector, we are quite happy to have a DVC who is close to it. Professor Balkaran also stems and, you know, from tourism and hospitality. So most times he really understands where we come from and understands the language, and really is ideally placed this morning to introduce our DM. So Professor Balkaran, if I may hand then over to you to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you very much, Mandisa, and indeed it is very close to my heart. And welcome, colleagues. Honorable Deputy Minister Mahlalela, the DDG Malan, our Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Nhlapo, the Dean of Faculty, Professor Green, the Head of Department of Tourism, Ms. Silo, lecturers, students, members from industry. I'm happy to see TISA is here, CATSITA, and all of the associations and key members involved in tourism. It is indeed an honorable moment for me to introduce our keynote speaker. Honorable Amos Fish Mahlalela is the Deputy Minister of the Department of Tourism of the Republic of South Africa from the 29th of May 2019. He is a member of the African National Congress in the National Assembly of South Africa. Honorable Mahlalela holds an honors degree in governance and leadership from the University of Witwatersrand. After the 1994 general elections, he was deployed as Member of Parliament and has since served the country in different responsibilities in both the province and the national legislatures. He has been a member of the provincial legislature, where he served, amongst others, as a chairperson of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, SCOPA, and chairperson of the Association of Public Accounts Committee of South Africa, and also served as the chairperson of the Southern Africa Development Committee on Public Accounts. During his tenure in the Mpumalanga province, he served in various executive positions, and notably the following responsibilities: MEC for the Department of Environmental Affairs and Tourism, the MEC for the Department of Culture, Sports and Recreation, MEC for the Department of Local Government and Traffic, MEC for the Department of Roads and Transport, MEC for the Department of Safety and Security, and the MEC for the Department of Health and Social Development. He also previously served as the ANC whip in the Portfolio Committee on Health in the National Assembly. Honorable Mahlalela has a proud history in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa, was exiled in the 1980s and received military training in numerous countries as a member of the ANC's military wing, Umkhonto Sizwe. In 2002, he was elected the chairperson of the ANC in Mpumalanga. The Honorable Deputy Minister will speak to us about tourism and events sector and the initiatives from the National Department of Tourism around reimagining, rediscovering, and reinventing tourism. Colleagues, I present to you Honorable Minister Amos Fish Mahlalela.
Thank you very much, Program Director, the HOD of Tourism, Events and Management, Madam Mandiso Silo, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Nhlapo, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Balkaran, the Dean of faculty, Professor Green, the lecturers that are with us here, the DDG for Tourism, Department of Tourism, Malan and Sitwaba, our fellow students. We are meeting today and having this conversation with you as part of the tourism sector, as the future tourism entrepreneur, as the future lecturers, and a whole tourism service. We are doing this under very difficult circumstances occasioned by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. As we may all know, the outlook of the tourism sector remains highly uncertain. The coronavirus continues to hit hard, with international tourism expected to decrease substantially, as it has already decreased in the year last year, 2020, and it will continue to decrease in this year, 2021, as we experience various waves of the variant that are developing in various countries, which results towards international countries or countries of the world, as they are engaged in curbing and preventing this virus, engaging in various measures of trying to curb. Many countries are engaged in various forms of lockdown of one form or another, which then makes international travel very difficult. Domestic tourism is currently the future, is currently the one that we must use to reignite the tourism sector. And government has taken impressive immediate action to restore and reactivate the sector, while working very hard to make sure that we protect jobs and businesses. Many countries are now developing measures to build a more resilient tourism economy post-COVID-19, which as a country we are also part of that process. This includes preparing plans to support the sustainable tourism recovery, promoting the digital transition, and move to a greener tourism system, rethinking tourism for the future. It is at that destination that rely heavily on international travel market and tourism events are particularly struggling, with many coastal, regional, and rural areas faring a little bit better than cities, because people will prefer more space because of the virus requiring social distancing of one form or another. Government has taken impressive action to cushion the blow to tourism, to minimize jobs losses, and to build recovery this year and beyond. Key of these policy priorities includes restoring travel confidence, supplying tourism businesses to adapt and survive, promoting domestic tourism, as I've indicated, and supporting safe return to international tourism, strengthening cooperation within the spheres of government, our 3 spheres of government, national, local, and provincial spheres, as well as between countries and the private sector as well. Build more resilient and sustainable tourism. This crisis provided us an opportunity to rethink tourism for the future. As Albert Einstein once said, the measures we are putting in today will shape the tourism of tomorrow, close quote. The Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan that was approved by Cabinet and adopted by Parliament, it identified tourism recovery as a key sector in terms of recovering the economy of South Africa. In response to the ERRP, the tourism sector has developed the Tourism Sector Recovery Plan. This recovery plan was developed in consultation and working together with the industry as a whole. This is in line with our mandate and gives expression to the National Development Plan, which is our blueprint for growth. The Tourism Sector Recovery Plan outlines a set of interventions to ignite the recovery of the sector. These interventions are set out in 3 strategic themes, which include protecting and rejuvenating supply, reigniting demand, and strengthening capacity for long-term sustainability. A bold domestic campaign is central to this. We believe that domestic market should be the pillar of reigniting the market. Skills are important in the implementation of the recovery intervention. It is thus important that we continue to build confidence that the sector will recover and continue to provide job opportunities to the unemployed, in particular yourself as graduates, young graduates, women, and people with disability. Although there is uncertainty on how the future of the tourism and hospitality will be, the sector will, we're convinced, gradually be normal through partnership and working together between government and the private sector. While the sector is fragile, it is most certainly also resilient. With the robust recovery plan as its North Star, our department seeks to highlight skills as crucial in the implementation of the recovery interventions. We are confident that the sector will recover and continue to provide job opportunities for you. We want to take this opportunity to thank you for the questions and allowing us an opportunity to engage with your good self. As we present this address, we'll try to answer some of your questions. As we've indicated before, this is a very difficult time for the sector. The pandemic introduced an unprecedented crisis in the world, affecting global economy. Tourism is one of the sectors which have been highly impacted with a variety of changes and challenges, and this negative impact resulted in the sector facing profound and simultaneous demand and supply shocks. Among other things, the pandemic has the following impacts on the tourism sector: closure of businesses, businesses operating at a drastically reduced capacity, massive job losses, collapse of supply and demand on the domestic international market, and most businesses declaring bankruptcy and liquidation. It all but disseminated the sector. All these have potential long-lasting tourism implications, which tourism implications includes, but not limited to, sustainability, travel confidence, safety and hygiene, skill shortage, digitalization, and travel behavior. However, we want to indicate that historically we know that the tourism has, as an industry or as a sector, has quickly bounced after disasters, pandemics, and epidemics like your Ebola, your Middle East respiratory syndrome, your severe acute respiratory syndrome. We are therefore confident that this time will not be different. This too shall pass. Dear colleagues, students, you are at a very important juncture in your life as students. You are defining moment. What you do now will shape the course of the rest of your life. This is one of your journeys as captain of your own ship, and how you steer it rests entirely with you. You might be experiencing mixed emotions, and that is normal. But it is important to note that however you feel at the moment, let your sense of purpose propel you forward. You have chosen to join the tourism family, a sector of note that serves as one of the engines of our economy. Tourism is the activator of all economic activities. It does impact and touches several industries, directly and indirectly. It does that through tourism spending. So tourism, therefore, is one of the important source of employment generation and foreign exchange earnings for any country. So without tourism, there are no activations of any economy, because people must travel, people must consume. So this is very key, a sector that is able to make sure that the economy is rejuvenated. We don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we face difficulties. I'm proud to the vision that the institutions align itself with the mission statements that says high quality teaching and learning with the relevant curriculum. May we enjoy this symbiotic relation that will see you all as active participants in the economy while being brand ambassadors for South Africa. We hope this partnership and collaboration will be able to take us forward in rebuilding a tourism sector and the economy of South Africa. Although there is uncertainty to how the future of the tourism, as I've indicated, and hospitality will be, we are confident that the sector will gradually be normal through partnership and working together between government and the private sector. While the sector is fragile, it is most important that we are convinced that and believing that it is going to come back in a much more bigger way, in a much more different way, in a much more transformed way. With a robust recovery plan as its North Star, we are convinced that we will be able to create opportunities for our people and be able to rise from this pandemic. The Minister and myself will be delivering the department's budget vote speech next week on Tuesday the 18th. For those of you who will be in class and your lecturer will not be in class and your lecturers will encourage you to log into our departmental media platform, the Facebooks and the Twitter, and become more involved in the mechanism of Parliament, demonstrating active citizenry. We'll be outlining key tourism priorities and plans for the year ahead. We do know that it is not easy for yourself, your lecturers, your parents at the moment. But as our former president Thabo Mbeki once said, and I quote, "Gloom and despondency have never defeated adversity. Trying times needs courage and resilience. Our strength as a people is not tested during the best of times. We never become despondent because the weather is bad, nor should we be triumphalist because the sun shines." Close quote. Let me take you back to Albert Einstein once again, who said, "In the middle of difficulties lies opportunities." So in the middle of this pandemic, we believe that tourism will be able to come back and in a much more resilient way. Never give up on what you really want to do. Always dream big in life. As you navigate your ship, allow us to be the wind of your sails. May you find your North Star, and may it guide you to the very best version of yourself. I would like to conclude with an anonymous quote that says, "You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and loved more than you will ever know." Close quote. Let's work together and collaborate each other and make this symposium a learning and also a process towards recovery, and improve our tourism sector and make sure that we create an opportunities for all our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DM, for those encouraging words. Really indeed giving us hope and rightfully placing the importance of tourism in really the recovery of the country in general, and not just the sector. Ladies and gentlemen, I must say, if it was not clear earlier, it is blindly obvious now in the time, particularly of this pandemic, that tourism is indeed indispensable. And it is more so indispensable to our response as a country and to the recovery during this crisis. We really appreciate those words, DM. We are certainly looking forward and encouraged by the robust tourism recovery plan, which I know as scholars we will engage with it more intimately. And I'm sure we will have other opportunities, to further engage on it. We also look forward to the budget speech next week, and we want to wish you and the whole NDT team all the best for that. Thank you so much, DM. At this point, then, ladies and gentlemen, I would like perhaps all the presenters and all those that do have camera rights to put their cameras on. We would like to take a very brief photo opportunity. If we can do that for a minute, perhaps before we can then go into the Q&A session. We will be guided by either Tahida or Zia to let us know if are we all looking good? Do they have our bright sides? DM for the photo shoot. Colleagues, cameras, please.
Okay, so DM and Masila, we can see you clearly. We're just waiting for one or two colleagues, and then I'll take the picture. Okay, Masila, your camera went off on your side. Okay, perfect. I've got
on my side, if Zia, if you may, please as well, could I perhaps request the two DDGs to join the photo session? I'm not sure if I can't see the Vice Chancellor and Prof. Balkaran, if possible.
Good morning, HOD. This is Blessing Manali, Acting DDG for Corporate Management at the department.
Thank you so much, DDG. Thank you for joining us.
Am I not visible, Masilo?
Yeah, mine is also on.
Yes, please, we can see you. We can see you, DDG, okay, as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Zia, are we done?
Can you switch on your camera, VC? Just 1 second. It's only showing 2 at a time, so I just have to take a screenshot of everybody as they show up. And then the DM, can I have your camera on, please? Thank you.
I thought it's on.
Is it on? Okay, perfect. I've got one of you as well, the DM. Thank you very much, the DM. And I think I've got it all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for obliging us.
Thank you very much.
If we may proceed then with the rest of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting to the close of the program itself. And I must say, this is the part that really excites me, DM, and I've been told that you are certainly looking forward to this part. So we have questions predominantly from our students, but perhaps a few as well from our other delegates. And I'd like at this moment to hand over to Tahida. Tahida is our lecturer within the Tourism and Events Department. She's responsible for the communication subjects within the tourism and events programs, particularly in our ECP program. And I must say, ladies and gentlemen, Tahida is also the brainchild of this event. So we really do appreciate her really having led us to where we are today. But without giving everything away, Tahida, let's hand over to you for the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Masilo. Just want to check, can I be heard? Am I heard? Camera on. Can someone please just confirm with me? I'm good.
Yes, Tahida, you're good. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning. Honorable audience, I must say I'm totally in awe and intimidated by the heavyweights we have here this morning. It is a first for me, so please forgive me if I make any blunders. Expect them. So without further ado, good morning and welcome to the Q&A session. Deputy Minister Fish Mahlalela, DG Malan, DG Setwaba, DG Manale, and Prof. Nglapo, Prof. Balkaran, and Prof. Green, and to everyone in the audience, welcome to the Q&A session. So as Masilo indicated, the questions comes from questions we had to literally limit from 98 questions. So the panel and Deputy Minister, please, you are sought after. We had to reduce it to 16. Yes, so we're going to try to squeeze as many in as possible. The questions I'll share with you. I'm aware that I speak a bit fast, so what I did was I created a PowerPoint presentation so that we can actually just follow and read the questions as well if you didn't clearly understand it the first time. Okay, so the questions are divided to 13 to a panel, so any one of the DDGs or the Deputy Minister is welcome to take the question if you like. And then we have 3 questions for the Deputy Minister himself. We want the lowdown on the Deputy Minister. So the questions, like Masilo alluded to, comes from our students and then also of our staff members. So the first question is by Ms. Pavla Mokwene, and she asks that in anticipation of the 3rd wave, employees at the Victoria Falls has been vaccinated. Are there any rollout plans to get the employees of the Kruger National Park and all the other major SA touristic attractions vaccinated? So anyone is welcome to answer that question. And just to keep things smooth flowing, could you please just indicate by hand? You have this little emoticon with a raised hand there so that I can actually just respond to whoever's going to take the question. Thank you.
DDG Malan will take that one.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister Fish Mahlalela.
DDG Malan, are you there?
Apology. I think my my audio went off, but thank you very much, DM. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to say that yes, government does have plans to vaccinate or to roll out vaccination for frontline staff of key sectors as part of the 3rd phase of the rollout of the vaccines. And the frontline staff of the tourism sector is part of those prioritized sectors. So together with other key sectors, the frontline staff of the tourism sector is prioritized. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, DDG Malan. That's actually very, very comforting. I'm dying to go and travel. So the next question comes from Sini Gugumia, and she asks, what opportunities and strategies arose from the COVID-19 pandemic, and will it be used going forward? It's a panel question, so anyone is free to answer and take that question.
DDG Sitwaba and Acting DDG Manal.
Good morning once again, and thank you, Deputy Minister and colleagues, and to the students and to the academic team of the universities in the Western Cape. Well, I'm sure DDG Straba would add. I mean, myself being a head of communications, I think that one of the things that the COVID has taught us has been how to do things differently. And for students in tourism, I think that is an opportunity, particularly that you're linked to events, how to start organizing events differently, how to start having a paperless event, how to be able to transact without using cash, how to market the destination without having to drive around and walk around. So, but most importantly, I think it has been able to teach us how to reach out using untraditional methods. And I think that for students of tourism, as you begin to think marketing, as you begin to think events, you need to start thinking about these things that we managed to live with under COVID and just make it the way things are going to be. So you can no more walk around as the SRC selling tickets to a student bash. You must also now understand that a student bash can no more have 10,000 students in one stadium. They may have to be in 3 campuses. So there is quite a lot we have learned, and I'm sure we can continue to talk about that, Deputy Minister and the team. But that's just my summary.
Thank you very much, DDG Malan. DDG Sitwaba, would you like to add on to what DDG Manali said?
Good morning, and
Good morning.
particularly a good morning to the program director, to the deputy minister, and the vice chancellor, and the staff that surrounds you. Good morning to the students as well. One of the key aspects that we have learned as a sector is that during times of disaster, we need each other. We have seen how government was able to government and the private sector, including our participants in the industry, coming together to fight, so to speak, the battle together. We have also seen an opportunity that arose that made us to concentrate and really put plans in place to ensure that domestic tourism really becomes the backbone of the sector's contribution to the economy. It was all hands on deck in terms of making sure that we put in place strategies for tourism in the country to survive, and also that tourism becomes a lucrative sector as well. But my main take home is the collaboration that we were able to see, not only with the industry, but across provinces. You would have noticed how even in the thick of the pandemic, while we were still having those serious restrictions, but as tourism, we came together and we were able to rally around supporting the industry. You will have seen Deputy Minister and Minister going around the country just to rejuvenate and really put effort to ensure that domestic tourism survives. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, DGD Sitwaba. It really is very comforting, and from all the local South Africans, thank you so much for all the effort that you guys are putting into restoring tourism. And I think just on what you mentioned, it's good for the students to also be able to can see the collaboration and the sense of Ubuntu that comes across through all your collective efforts to sort of recover and re-energize the tourism industry. So thank you so much. The next question is also a panel question. It's from me. So I'm really interested to know what's the current plan of action to revitalize tourism? Are we looking at a tourism industry that's related and COVID friendly? Or are we working towards this imagined post-COVID-19 tourism? Like, which way are we focusing our energies? It is a panel question. Anyone is free to answer. Thank you so much.
DDG Malan, can you start and then followed by Blessing?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, DM, and thank you so much for the question as well. I think Deputy Minister in his address highlighted the tourism sector recovery plan that was approved by Cabinet a couple of weeks ago. And the three pillars of that strategy, the one focuses on the protection of our supply. So we are saying that, well, in general language, we are saying that we cannot have an industry. We have tourists traveling, but there is no supply of products. So it's important for us to have products and services that is responding to the needs of our travelers, and those needs might have changed based following the pandemic. So that we need to take into account the fact that the needs of our travelers, our tourists, most definitely might have changed. I think Blessing also mentioned some of the key areas around that. DDG Sitwaba might also speak to the norms and standards that is important for us to have the confidence for the tourists to have the confidence that indeed when they travel to South Africa or within South Africa, they will be safe from a health perspective as well. So the one is the protection of the supply. The other pillar is around rejuvenating our demand. So we need to stimulate our demand. We need to both domestically and DDG Setwaba spoke about the importance of domestic tourism. Historically, I think we as a country, we knew that domestic tourism is important, but we might have neglected it a bit. And this pandemic taught us that indeed we need domestic tourism as the backbone of our industry. And then lastly, the third pillar speaks around enabling environment. So we need to create an enabling environment for all of this to happen. And that then speaks to matters like the e-visa system that Home Affairs are working on to make travel facilitation easier for domestic tourists to travel around and so forth. So for us, those are the three key pillars that forms the basis of our sector recovery plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your contribution, DDG.
DDG, can you come in and deal with the safety, hygiene, in terms of the norms and standards?
Thank you.
Part of the promotion.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. In terms of ensuring that we remain a top destination in the world, due to the pandemic, we had to quickly adjust how we will be providing services within the tourism space. We have since developed norms and standards for the safe operation of tourism in the pandemic itself, and we are looking beyond the pandemic. So the norms and standards will inform safety in operations during the pandemic and beyond. I must say, when we started with the norms and standards, colleagues and friends of tourism will have noticed that we were part of the few that had really concentrated in terms of making sure that we give direction in terms of rendering of services within the sector. In alignment with the Disaster Management Act. So all of that work has now culminated into the norms and standards that Minister will be publishing after having obtained a cabinet approval. We realize that we are the cleanest. We are one of the cleanest because we are in the services. We in terms of health-wise, the sector is there already. It didn't take quite a lot of energy and effort to repurpose, so that we should be able to win the confidence of our tourists. So the norms and standards, as we are finalizing in terms of the comments, addressing them, and thank you to South Africans who have participated in providing inputs into the norms and standards. That really gave us confidence that we do have support, and that there's an interest in terms of making sure that when our borders open, when our domestic market involve themselves in tourism, we will have a safe tourism for tourists to enjoy. So in a nutshell, yes, there are strategies that we are putting in place to ensure that we are well equipped at the time when the pandemic is going through, and also beyond. We are also looking at repurposing the skills set that we are providing. Currently, we are repurposing. You will know that we are providing certain skills, accredited skills towards the youth in particular. This financial year, we will be ensuring that there's training and awareness to those that we will be training, to ensure that there's compliance with the norms and standards. So it's not going to be business as usual. We are incorporating, just trying to be able to adapt and to be able to carry on with strategies that government is putting aside to ensure that the pandemic does not spread, not in our sector. So those are the strategies that we are putting in place. Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much, DDG Malan and DDG Setwaba, for your very insightful and very informative and comforting response to my question. Thank you very much. The next question is also a panel question. The question is by Hanan Hattas, and she'd like to know what steps are needed to start your own business. So it is a panel question. Anyone is free to answer. Thank you so much.
Should I direct it to somebody? Because there's quietness.
Thank you, DM. I'll give it my best shot. Other than the legal requirements in the country in terms of starting a business, there's some compliance issues that we need to follow. Some of them you will find them in your local government, you will find them in sectors, but in the department currently, we do not register businesses. We want businesses to give us information so that we can be able to take decisions to support businesses. But my sense is that this is a services sector. We render service, and we deal a lot with people. Of course, travel and tourists, as they are traveling, they are able to inject into the economy, and that must be complemented by the kind of service that we are offering. So in my view, passion to serve tourists is key. If you start a business and you're looking at profit, it may not happen immediately, but your passion in this sector is the one that is going to reward you. And again, you are not only serving tourists. Remember that we are supporting the survival or sustainable development of enterprises, just to ensure that from the government's perspective, SMMEs being able to create jobs. Tourism exists so that we can be able to inject into the economy, we can be able to create jobs. So you starting a business because you've got the passion to ensure that there's jobs created, while you will be making a few rands into your pocket as well. But the main passion should be to sell the destination, to make sure that South Africa is one of that competitive destination, but also to ensure that you will be able to employ South Africans and assist government in denting the unemployment rate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DDG Sitwaba. Just a housekeeping notice. We're running a few minutes over time. I promise I'm not going to go through the entire 16 questions. We'll do just about 3 questions. One more question for the panel, and then 2 questions directly to the Honorable Deputy Minister Fish Mahlalela. So just bear with us, please. One last question for the panel is by Sifundu, and he's interested in knowing what is the progress that the department has made in rolling out the National Tourism and Climate Change Response Program and Action Plan. It's quite a heavy loaded question.
DDG Malan, can you come in?
Yes, DM, I can certainly do, but I also think DDG Sitwaba might also want to add, just to highlight that responsible tourism in its broader sense is very important for the department and the strategies of the department and the tourism sector. That includes both the environment. It includes aspects around access to all, that is around transformation. DM in his address also alluded to youth, people with disability, women in tourism. But then it also involves, as I mentioned, the environment. The Department of Tourism and the country was one of the first countries that has implemented a responsible tourism strategy. We do work very closely with the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, and we do have a plan in terms of climate response. But I do believe DDG Sitwaba will be best to say where we are with that plan, as it falls directly within her responsibility, and I don't want to misrepresent our progress there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DDG Malan.
DDG Sitwaba, can you briefly come in?
Sure, DM, and thank you. Our strategy on climate change is guided by the white paper on national climate change response and the national adaptation strategy. We have since developed the National Tourism and Climate Change Response Program, which really focuses on adaptation and mitigation within the sector. We have also conducted a climate change risk and vulnerability assessment across the province, across the country, in 29 or 27 tourism sites. We are really busy in terms of making sure that we implement also our responsible tourism norms and standards. And so far, what we have done, we have come up with a 3-year tourism adaptation implementation plan, and currently we are drafting our communications plan in terms of the developed climate change implementation plan. So currently, the implementation plan, together, as DDG Malan was saying, a closer collaboration with the department that implements the NEMA, the act in terms of environment. Our implementation plan should be out, if I'm not, but I think it should be out around this year. So it's very critical for us that while we are encouraging the growth of tourism, we also are able to take care of our supply base, just to ensure that there's going to be sustainability with regards to climate change.
Just to emphasize, Just to emphasize a point that on the climate change, that South Africa as a country was the first to include responsible tourism in the national tourism policy, which we adopted in 1996. That is the white paper on the development and tourism of South Africa. And then which immediately after that, in 2002, the Department of Environment produced a national responsible guidelines on tourism, which is the one that therefore we are using to develop a plan on making sure that we implement those guidelines in line with the white paper as adopted by government in 1996.
Thank you. Deputy Minister. I'm sure Hlingiwe will be very, very pleased with all the responses, as all the audience. It's really comforting, and I'm really holding on to the word comforting, to know that parameters has been set for responsible tourism. So thank you so much, Deputy Minister. The next questions are for yourself, and it is posed by Mbali Mbasa, and she asks, what is the best advice you can give to new university students? And then secondly, what was the hardest personal and professional decision you ever had to make? Over to you.
No, thanks very much. Well, the first question in my speech, I've already given the student an advice that you are a driver of your own ship, and therefore the journey currently it's in your hands. The future that is lying ahead, it's in the hand of you as a student, to make sure that you achieve what you have set yourself to achieve. And therefore you must remain focused. You must commit yourself to the work that you want to achieve. You must set your goals, and make sure that you don't deviate from the things that you want to achieve. The lesson that I can give is that you must follow the amazing life lessons, of which the amazing life lessons, one of them is to follow your curiosity at all times. Be perseverance. You must know that perseverance is priceless, and therefore there's nothing that you are going to pay except to receive, except to become perseverant yourself in order to achieve whatsoever that you want to achieve in life. Focus on the present. That's very critical, because the present is the one that is going to determine your future. Make mistakes in life, because there's no way you're going to learn without making mistake, and there's no way you're going to learn in life if you don't make mistake. Mistakes is the one that make us grow, make us to learn, and do things. Create value. Don't expect doing one thing and expect different results. You must always be creative so that you expect, but if you do one and the same thing and expect different results, it's not going to be possible. Well, the second question is the most difficult one.
That's why it's the last one. That's why we left it for last.
I mean, the last one, yeah, is the most difficult one. Difficult in a sense that, well, the whole of my life has been dedicated to politics. I joined full time, not just being part time. I became full-time in politics when I was 24 years old, until today. I've never known any life from then outside politics. So the decision that I took, some of them made me unpopular. Some of them made me lose my job. And some of them I didn't know why I lost my job by taking those decisions until recently. One of the decisions, for example, that I took was there was an outcry when I was an MEC for local government of corruption taking place in various municipalities. And I decided to institute forensic investigation to be able to determine the corrupt activities and be able to deal with the culprits, and then subsequently then stop this thing. While I was in the middle of that, I was removed and lost my job as an MEC. And I didn't understand why, because I thought I'm doing the right thing. But I lost my job as a result of that. When I was the chair of SCOPA, one department presented projects that have been finished and handed over, and I decided to do an investigation. And I discovered that there's no single work that has been done, but money has been spent. And as a result of that, I lost my chairpersonship because of that action that I took. As I'm saying, at the time, I also didn't understand, because I thought it's the right thing I'm doing. Until recently that I then understood, oh, okay, that's why I was removed on the basis of that. So there are many decisions that I could relate that I took, which put me in a very difficult situation. And as I'm saying at the time, I didn't understand why until now that many things are being exposed in how corrupt the system is, and how some of us that I thought we are together in make sure that we build a clean governance. We were not necessarily together. They were on the other side. That's when I realized that, okay, that's why I became an enemy as a result of that. So those are my experiences.
Thank you so much, Deputy Minister, for sharing that with us. And I can truly say that I'm embracing going through difficulties, because in your words and in your experiences, it's really the only place where we grow. So thank you very much to the panel and Deputy Fish Mahlalela for engaging with all of us in the audience and answering our questions so beautifully. And at this point, I need to hand over to Masilo again, but trust me, I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you very much, Tahina. Thank you so much to the Deputy Minister and to the DDGs. Indeed, I did warn you, ladies and gentlemen, that this is probably going to be the most exciting part of this session. And I must say, DM, perhaps the DDGs and maybe yourself in a bit, did get a taste of what we contend with in our classrooms. But I must say you did very well. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the close of this session. And the last item on the program is the vote of thanks. And I do want to hand over to Ms. Pavla Mukwena to take us through the vote of thanks. But before I do, I would really on my side want to thank you all for attending. and really indicate the value and appreciation we have for the partnership with the National Department of Tourism, which has been long coming, and I hope it certainly continues. And thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Pavla.
Thank you very much, Masilo. Good morning to all our guests. I'm actually quite honored to have been tasked with giving this vote of thanks to close off this wonderful gathering this morning. First, let me extend a wholehearted gratitude to all our guests. The Honorable Deputy Minister, Mr. Fish Mahlalela, and the DDGs here today, Ms. Anele, Ms. Anim Malan, Mayor Miriam Matinko, Sitwa Sitwaba, and Mr. Blessing Manale. We thank you very much for taking time to actually attend the session with us and taking time from your busy schedules to come and share some of the lights of the industry and insights into what is happening with us and our students. DM, your keynote address was actually quite encouraging as it speaks to the issues central to reactivating tourism, highlighting attention to the refocus of the tourism economy, but quite most importantly, the critical role that the local industry or our industry here in South Africa will play for the recovery of the entire country's economy. There was also a highlight of the importance of the domestic market as one of the key drivers to this journey to recovery. And we take lessons throughout the experience we've had through this last year, but most importantly, the words that came through your address, as well as the discussions we had in the Q&A, in considering what our role is going to be as higher education going forward. We thank you for the encouraging words you shared now with our students and graduates, and hope that they take that to heart when they plow the road as well to the future in tourism. To our executive management, Professor Chris Ntlapo, our Vice Chancellor, Deputy Chancellor Teaching and Learning, Professor Rishuda Balkaran, the Dean of the Business Management Science Faculty, Professor Paul Green, all faculty committee members present here today. Thank you to you as well for your presence and the addresses that were delivered this morning. VC, it was quite a pleasant to hear this morning that the Faculty of Business and Management Sciences does not only excel in academics, but also on the playing field. So hurrah to this faculty. We are also indebted to our industry, government and academic guests here this morning. The National Department of Tourism, SACI guests here this morning, CPUT guests here this morning, TESA guests, most importantly, our members in the Tourism and Events Management Department, both here at the Cape Town campus and Wellington campus, colleagues and compatriots from the Hospitality Department at the Granger Bay campus, to all the students, guests and academics here at CPUT and visiting institutions. Thank you for the time you had to share with us today, and we hope that you have gained from this as much as we did. Now, Deputy Minister, I would like to take this opportunity, and please forgive me if I'm going to show a little bit of favoritism here, but our heartfelt congratulations go to this amazing team that made this event possible. And I would clearly like to thank Ms. Tahida Brandt, Ms. Mkita Bavuma, Ms. Zia Tomlinson, and Ms. Praveen Ibrahim, as well as our talented admin assistant, Ms. Fundiso Konyana, with the leadership of our head of department, Ms. Silo. Thank you very much. Lastly, to the Marketing and Communications Department, Ms. Mare, for assisting with the planning of the program and invitation design, Mr. Derek Stoken for assistance with marketing of this wonderful event, and Ms. Mihlali Maraule for assisting with coordinating gifts for our honored guests. And again, posing a little bit of favoritism, a proud product of the Tourism and Events Management Department. Not forgetting Mr. Kwanele Butana, our thanks for covering this event. We thank you very much, as well as most importantly, the technical division, Mr. Sonwabo Jongile, for all the technical assistance with the Blackboard Learner Management System from where we hosted this event today. All your support throughout the planning of this event is highly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the close of this program. As we look ahead to a positive industry recovering and rejuvenated, as well as a prosperous future in tourism. I wish you all a well, gracious day, and please stay safe until we meet again. Thank you very much. Okay, so as we come to the end of this program, Ms. Silo and all the other presenters will not be coming back to the session. So it is safe to say our thank yous and we can close off the session. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, DG.
Thank you, DM.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, everybody.
On behalf of the project team, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.